Hey guys, Nananki here bringing you another Team Fortress 2 gameplay, well, not really commentary, gameplay while I answer some questions. Up to this point, I've made it a point not to just talk about a flavor of the day topic while my gameplay is on in the background, almost as an afterthought, because that's not the purpose, in my opinion, of a gameplay commentary. The gameplay should be the focus. But I wanted to answer a whole bunch of questions, and I've been getting kind of randomly, sporadically, over the course of my time developing my channel thus far, and I wanted to condense them all into one short answer video in which I touch most of the bases relevant to my existence here, and hopefully your interest in it. But it'll also hopefully save me from answering the same questions over and over again, at least for a period of weeks, maybe, not get the same questions. And it's not that I mind answering them, I actually look forward to getting messages from you guys about anything, for that matter. It's fun getting feedback of any kind. All the same, I do plan to go a little bit in depth with these answers as opposed to my normal kind of quick answers, even though some of them I can only give a quick answer, like questions like, what are your favorite class, what's your favorite loadout, what's your favorite weapon, what's your favorite map in Team Fortress 2? For that, I'll just run right through them. Like, my favorite class is pretty much the Demo Man. I feel like I get more accomplished on him than anything else. I really do like the Frontier Justice with Engineer as well, and playing Combat Engie, that's another favorite, but I'd have to give it to the Demo Man. He's just more capable of taking down sentries and pushing the team forward in situations where, you know, Mini Sentry Engie is kind of more of a middle ground fighter. You know, he's good when you come around a corner and don't expect him, but he's not going to push around a corner with two sentries guarding it. You know, there's no way that's getting accomplished by an engineer, unless he's some kind of incredible engineer. Maybe if he has like 3 Ubers in sequence, he'd have enough time to run up and melee the engineers to death and then beat their guns to death, assuming they weren't up on ledges. As far as my favorite weapon, I'd have to go with the Lock and Load or the Frontier Justice. I guess if I have to just pick one, I'll go with the Lock and Load and Demo Man as my favorite combination there, because it's just so strong. I feel like such a beast when you're nailing people with the Lock and Load, and one of them crits or something, and you just blow up everybody around it too. Because the direct hit is just as strong as the Lock and Load with direct hits. It'll also take a sentry down in 2 shots, but it only has a small explosive radius, whereas the Lock and Load's radius is normal. So a crit Lock and Load shot is a devastating thing. If you've got a medic next to your target, you're taking the medic out. My favorite game type is gonna be Payload. I really like Payload. Payload Race 2, for that matter, is fun. I just like the moving front line. Moves along with the cart and so forth. And it just makes the combat a little bit more dynamic. And as a result of that, my favorite map, I'm going to have to go with Gold Rush. It's not the most balanced map maybe out there, but I like the layout with the attics and the side areas, but still having like those harsh pinch points that you can kind of just stack up explosives and do denial of area tactics with bombs and whatnot. You know, that's a good mix by my estimation of things. I seem to find myself on Gold Rush pretty frequently, and I always have a good time, I think. Another question I've got a few times is, what is the deal with the name of your channel? Why isn't your channel's name Nananki? Well, the channel name Seraphin is from my Final Fantasy XI account. My Final Fantasy XI character's name was Seraphin. I played that game to the exclusion of all other games for the better part of 3 years. I stopped playing first-person shooters. Like, I basically quit playing Counter-Strike to go play Final Fantasy XI. I had quite a lot of time on Counter-Strike and was pretty thoroughly burned out on it, to be honest. And it was the MMORPG of choice for me for a period of years, like I said, and I stopped playing other games. I only played Final Fantasy XI. It occupied all of my free time for years, in fact. And the origination of my YouTube channel was to upload some of my videos from Final Fantasy XI, but I had made the mistake of putting popular music over them that was copyrighted, and back in the day, YouTube's answer for copyrighted music was just simple deletion. You didn't get that little option where, oh yeah, you can click through to buy this, and so forth and so on. No, they just took them down outright. I didn't have the originals anymore, and so they're just gone to the mists of time. And so my YouTube channel sat for a long time. I uploaded some videos of me playing DFO, or I'm sorry, Dungeon Fighter Online, with some friends, which was another MMORPG of sorts, if you can call it as much. That's essentially what it is, even if it is completely kind of unique and different. I had fun with it for like a year and a half, but it also kind of was developed away from me. They broke a lot of the game. Nexon, people who made it. I don't want to talk about DFO for too long, but they made a lot of changes to the game, and a lot of it was glitches and bugs that they never rectified. They just kept adding new content without dealing with what they had previously broken. And the class that I played, Striker, had its 2 primary buffs broken, and that basically broke the class, and I lost interest in playing and gravitated away from it. And so I'm not really playing DFO anymore, for anyone interested. But I'm getting sidetracked here. The point is that when Left 4 Dead came out, I stopped playing Final Fantasy XI and started playing first-person shooters again. Left 4 Dead was freaking awesome, and when I got back into playing that, within a week I was like, oh hey, TF2, awesome, because I played Team Fortress way back in the day when it was a Quake mod, back in 1997, back when I was all into Quake, and played the ever-loving hell out of it and every single mod that came out for it, and Team Fortress was one of the various mods that came out for Quake. And it was great then, and Team Fortress Classic was awesome too, but getting back into TF2, after having not played Team Fortress in years, was just like, oh, this is the game for me right here. This game is fantastic, and I'm still playing it 3 years later. I still absolutely love, in fact, 4 years now, I absolutely love Team Fortress 2, and that's why I started my channel back up with Team Fortress 2 stuff. Which kind of brings me to my next question, which is, why do you do this? Why did you start doing these commentaries? What's your goal with these commentaries and videos? Commentaries and videos. There is no short answer to that question. I think everybody's reasons for getting into things like this are different, but for me, I can kind of sum it up in a nutshell, because I was tired of not doing anything, because I always had ideas about recording movie ideas, book ideas, song ideas, whatever kind of creative outlets I've had at the time I was never able to get my design out there. I was never able to make anything for the world to consume. I was never able to complete any project. I have so many half-started, half-finished projects, from scripting games to all the way up through the list of things. It's all half-attempted, half-started, half-hearted. And I was tired of always being on the sideline of stuff and thinking, boy, that's a good idea. I wish I had started doing that when I thought of it the first time, and instead of sitting around and doing nothing, and then somebody else comes along and does your idea, and it's like, I had that idea, and now it's not your idea, it's their idea, because they actually did something about it. And so even if I don't have an original idea this time, because like I said, I'm kind of late to the party on this one, I still was just decided I was just going to go for it. I'm going to record commentaries for Team Fortress 2 as a start, and do Let's Plays of games that I like, and see where it goes from there. Recording games and commentaries is nothing new to me. I've actually been recording games, if you get technical, since the Nintendo was out, the original Nintendo Entertainment System. I remember recording Mario Brothers 3 and Dragon Warrior on my mom's VCR, and then recording audio cassettes of commentary, basically like, leak pro tips, usually taken out of Nintendo Power, to play for my friends, have them come over and basically like watch what I had made. And I kind of got away from that. I never took seriously filmmaking or anything like that, even though I've always been a huge fan of filmmaking. I never made any effort, again, to get into it professionally in any caliber. And so this is all kind of touching back to things that I've been into in the past, and I wanted to do, but I never did, and so now I'm doing something. I'm making YouTube videos, I'm putting myself out there for what it's worth, and so far I'm having a blast, and the feedback's been almost entirely positive. I really expected more people telling me I suck or trolling me, but I really haven't gotten very much of it, and so I wanted to thank you guys so much for your feedback, because it has been great to know that you guys are watching me and it's actually being absorbed by the world. I'm not just putting these out to the wall. If I was getting 15 views a video like my first few, I don't think I could have kept up with this for as long as it's been. It's been like 4 months now, believe it or not, amazingly somehow, and this is my 63rd Team Fortress 2 video, or 62nd? It's kind of stunning when you think about it like that, but all the same, I'm having a really fun time doing it, and I'm going to keep at it as long as it's fun. I've also been asked a handful of times if I'm ever going to start streaming, and I've up to this point just been saying not yet, because I don't really have enough of a viewership to merit streaming at all. But I've been getting the question a little bit more often, a couple more times, and I've been thinking about it, especially since I hit 150 subscribers. It'd probably be worth it to stream like once a week, like on Saturday evenings. I'm almost always free on Saturday evenings. to play TF2 with you bros and stream on YouTube or perhaps even Twitch TV. I don't know if I would make an account on Twitch TV just to stream 1 day a week. And I don't know for that matter how well the YouTube streaming works at this time. I know it had some problems when it was newer, but from watching other people use it, it seems like it's functional now. I might be wrong about that from just the viewing angle, how functional it is, but if it's functional, that's probably what I'll use. But this is something I've just started thinking about, and as of right now, it's officially something I will get around to. So it's on the burner, so to speak. It's on the mental burner. Which brings me to my last question, and another thing on my mental burner is Let's Plays. In other words, me playing a game that's not Team Fortress 2, a single-player game, and commenting over it as is appropriate, and playing it with you guys, essentially, only not, you know, through the magic of video. And that's another thing that I used to do when I was younger, is when there would be single-player games, like especially RPGs, that would come out, and it would be a new game, and, you know, you'd be like, one kid on the block would get it, usually. Everybody would congregate at his place to play the new game, or to watch it even. If it was a Final Fantasy game, for example, when Final Fantasy III, which I later came to find out was actually Final Fantasy VI, when that was new, you know, we all kind of gathered around and we'd basically take turns with the controller and kind of plan collectively what we wanted to do with the characters. And I was thinking, you know, that is exactly what YouTube is. It's everybody getting to sit around and hang out as a group and watch somebody play a game, and hopefully you feel like you're part of it, and you get to see the game progress and don't have to go through all the trouble of trying to dig up a Super Nintendo or load up an emulator, which is actually no trouble at all, but that's probably going to be how I'm going to play the old games, the retro games, which Earthbound is the first retro game I plan on doing a Let's Play of, because it's a game that I somehow missed back in the day when I was coming up, and it's a great game. I've had many people tell me I should play that game, even outside the context of YouTube. Had just random friends, you know, when discussing old retro awesome Super Nintendo games, you talk about Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana and Earthbound. So that's right there in the list, and I didn't play it, so I'm gonna. And hopefully you guys will join me for it. And it doesn't mean I'd stop doing TF2 videos. It would be in addition to my TF2 thing, because I'm not going to stop playing TF2. As long as I'm playing TF2, I'm going to do commentaries on it. The game is awesome. But at the same time, I want to do modern games, and I've got a couple titles coming up in the next year that I'm going to jump on. I'm not going to say anything about those yet, because they're not even out yet. I would like to start doing my Let's Plays with Earthbound, but I've had some technical difficulties using Fraps to record the various emulators that are available to play Super Nintendo games on, and since I don't want to buy a capture card just to be able to play Earthbound on YouTube, I'm gonna probably still find some way around that and probably have to end up buying some other software in addition to Fraps, and then I'll have multiple recording software packages, options. Which seems redundant, but, you know, if some work with some things and some with others, then whatever. Or if, you know, whatever I replace Fraps with works with everything, then I guess Fraps got my money, and they don't deserve it. But seeing as that is the case, and at the moment it's not really working, I think the first title I will do a Let's Play of is going to be Serious Sam 3. It was recommended by a viewer when I did ask people, what should I play? And it looks like a blast. It looks like a really fun game. It looks very action-packed. It's also kind of vulgar, which is something I've kind of tried to avoid in my TF2 videos, but I never really made a conscious choice about that until it was kind of upon me, and it just felt appropriate to not curse like a sailor on TF2 videos. It doesn't add anything to it, and it just kind of detracts from it, I think. So I've avoided it, but with a game like that, you know, it just, I think, adds to the flavor of the character. I think if Serious Sam wasn't cursing up a storm, then the horrific violence he was dispensing would be more disjointed. You know, it doesn't really match up a guy being like, you know, kiss my butt, and then tearing a guy's head off. You know, it just doesn't fit. So that game is going to be full of cursing, and that's not something that this channel is going to shy away from. It's just also not something that I plan to do constantly. It's not going to be a hallmark of my channel. By and large, I'm going to keep it clean, unless the context of the situation calls for otherwise. A game like, for example, Dead Space 2. Another good one. Lots of cursing, very appropriate, fits with the game, the action, the environment, the atmosphere, the characters, the script. It's appropriate, and so it's good. It's not equivalently appropriate to be cursing up a storm during games like Team Fortress 2, whose characters utter not a curse. Not a single dirty word. Not even in their various countries' languages. Oh yeah, I have one more question to answer. I said the last question was the last question, but it's not. This is the last question. Nananki, can I add you to my friends list on Steam? Sure, go for it. Unless the Steam friends list has a limit on friends, which for all I know it does. I've never looked into it, and I'm not too worried about it. If it fills up, it fills up. I guess that's the end of accepting friends on Steam. I'd have to, at that point, maybe make a Steam group or something for you guys to be able to stay in touch with me and know when I'm doing things, especially if I start streaming once a week. But until that time comes, I'm just going to say it's open season on adding me as a friend, because it makes it easy to keep track of people, and I don't have thousands of subscribers. As awesome as it would be to eventually be at that echelon of YouTube, I'm not even close at the time being. And so, until that day comes, if that day comes, the rules would have to change, obviously, because I can't accommodate 1,000 people on a friends list. But as long as it's just like 100, yeah, I'm all about it. Come on, the more the merrier. And oh my goodness, that's like 13 and a half minutes of just answering questions. Well, thank you so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate it as always. Hopefully I answered everybody's questions. If I didn't, by all means, please submit your question on this video's comments, or send me a message directly on YouTube, or on Steam for that matter. I try to answer any questions I get, though I won't be making another Q&A video, hopefully for a long time to come. I will answer you directly. So, as I always say at the end of my video, like it if you liked it. I throw that in there, even though you guys know where the like button is. You're no novice to YouTube. Everybody who does repeated videos like this, at the end of them they always call out like, hey, subscribe to me, like my videos, it really helps me out. And I'm not going to give you a giant spiel at the end of every one of my videos begging for subscribers and likes. I don't want to be that guy. That's not my intent. So I just say, like it if you liked it. You know, if you enjoyed it, even a little bit, you know, click that like button. It's a tiny little action, and it really does leave a very positive impact on me, and it's something that is trackable in very quantitative terms. How many people liked my stuff is a number that I can reference, and there's no ambiguity to it. So, like it if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Peace.